It never ends, does it? It never ends with the children of our society, the blameless children of our society, who can never be held accountable, not by politicians, not by the media, not by average everyday citizens. It never fucking ends. Because now we have yet another story out of Minneapolis. Looting, burning, and rioting has begun yet again over a man who, get this, killed himself this time. A man who shot himself in the head. Just because there was a white person in close proximity nearby who just happened to be a police officer, now they're using this as an excuse to riot in the city of Minneapolis once again. But keep it up. Keep it up. Because people are starting to notice. People are starting to become aware. White Americans in particular are starting to become racially aware. Keep it up, media. Keep it up, journalists. Keep it up, criminals in the streets, rioting and looting and burning, because this will not end well for you. The most heavily armed population of the country is starting to notice. We are starting to notice. And violent crime is now almost as important to American voters as the coronavirus. So we're going to go through this story today. We're going to show you the clip from the suicide. So warning, if graphic images are going to be portrayed on your screen if you're watching this video. Before we get started, I just want to remind you to check out the links in the description below and go to either preparewithvincent.com or waterwithvincent.com. People have reached out to me asking me how to support, as my channels have been terminated by YouTube, and this is a way to support and get something back. So if you don't want to support on Subscribestar or Patreon, where I post exclusive content, and you can support monthly over there, or Cash App, or whatever you can support here and get something in return. Well, you get something in return either way, but you can get $100 off of a 4-week emergency dry food supply. This dry food supply has a 25-year shelf life. It's actually cheaper than 4 weeks of food at your local grocery store. It has 284 servings, 2,000 calories a day, 12 different food varieties. And the 1-week emergency dry food supply is back up on the site and ready to order as well at waterwithvincent.com. You can get about $100 off of an Alexa Pure Pro water filtration system. Filters up to 5,000 gallons of water, removes 200-plus contaminants, including fluoride, viruses, bacteria, pesticides, and pharmaceuticals. So make sure to check the links in the description below. And go to preparewithvincent.com or waterwithvincent.com to get your order and to give me credit. So let's get to this first story here. This is out of Minneapolis once again. Looting in downtown Minneapolis after homicide suspect takes his own life. So he was a homicide suspect. He killed someone, and then he took his own life. Probably he felt bad about what he did, or he felt them approaching and coming in. Groups of people are looting multiple stores in downtown Minneapolis. This happened after a homicide suspect took his own life on Nicollet Mall, according to Minneapolis police. Social media posts show images of people damaging items in a Target, as well as broken windows of surrounding stores. Haskell's Liquor Store and the Medical Arts Building also appear to have been looted. The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office is among the law enforcement groups responding to the looting. We've got cops all over the Twin Cities coming out here to maintain order because the citizens of Minneapolis and Hennepin County deserve to feel safe, said Hennepin County Sheriff Dave Hutchinson. The people causing problems are going to go to jail tonight. I highly doubt that they will, especially if they're black. The black fragility is high in the population right now. They can never be held accountable. They are the children of our society, and we can never talk frankly with them or tell the truth to them because they will burn your fucking city to the ground. It doesn't matter, as I said yesterday, it doesn't matter if they have a sexual assault charge against a minor on their record, like in the case of Jacob Blake. It doesn't matter if they overdose on fentanyl in the case of George Floyd, which has even been revealed in a recent document where the medical examiner's office came out and said that in any other circumstance, this would be ruled an overdose of fentanyl. It doesn't matter if they shot directly at a cop point-blank range in Detroit. We saw riots after that. It doesn't matter if they shot at a police officer like we saw in Chicago. It doesn't matter. We saw riots and looting after that. It doesn't matter if they killed their own self. If they killed their self, it doesn't matter. Because these people will find an excuse, will find a reason to destroy your city. And you wonder why white people flee from areas with a large portion of the population consisting of this specific demographic of people. Do you ask the question why that is? Why not just only white people flee these areas, but every other racial group flees these areas? Because these areas turn to shit immediately. Almost immediately. Crime surges. People loot, people burn, people riot, which causes the companies to then leave those areas, like we're seeing at record rates in New York City and Minneapolis, and probably Wisconsin is going to come. Many cities in Wisconsin are going to see the same thing occur. Portland, Seattle, all of these different cities are seeing mass exoduses of people because the group of people that is causing this chaos is never held accountable for anything, for any of their actions. So let's get to this. Let's get to this. This suicide that happened. It's not funny. It's a pretty sad situation. But here's the truth. Let's play this for you here. Here's the man with the gun. He racks the gun, sticks it in his mouth, and kills himself. That's what happened. Now, because there were white police nearby, just because there were white police nearby who tried to tell these people that he had a gun and he killed himself because they're fearful for their careers and fearful for their lives and their families' lives, because they know how this group of people, these children of our society, will react. Just because there was a white person nearby who happened to be a cop, they are looting and rioting and burning and destroying the city once again, just as they did for Fentanyl Floyd, who overdosed on fentanyl, who had multiple felonies on his record, who should have been in prison for life, who attacked a pregnant woman, reportedly, definitely robbed her with 5 other guys. Just as they martyred him, they're going to martyr this guy. They're going to martyr Jacob Blake, who had a sexual assault charge on his record. They're going to do whatever it takes in order to remain the victims, to remain the blameless children of our society who can never be held accountable. But keep it up. Violent crime is now almost as important to American voters as coronavirus. Numbers suggest relentless riots are helping Trump in the polls. As riots and unrest continue to dominate the headlines, a new poll has found that almost as many American voters now view violent crime as an important election issue compared to coronavirus, something that is likely to help President Trump. While cities like Portland have seen riots on a nightly basis for a virtually unbroken time period, the mayhem has now spread to Kenosha, Wisconsin, where 2 people were fatally shot last night. And, of course, Minneapolis once again, and basically every city in the country. All they need is for something like this to happen, and they're going to use it as an excuse to riot and loot stores so that they can get free shit. Plainly, that's what it comes down to. And people make excuses for this sort of behavior. Here's a clip. Minneapolis. Looks like a target. Yeah, it is a target.
Run that shit! Hey, you stay by the door. They coming in.
You have to remember, this is over the guy who committed suicide. This is over the man who committed suicide. As Colin Flaherty once said, don't make the black kids angry. They will react like that. Don't show them images of someone killing themselves with a white person in near proximity. Otherwise, they will react like that. But I want to get to one story here. We have a story out of the Daily Beast. They're coming after Tucker Carlson again. He said that the vigilante kid did what no one else would. He talks about how he was chased. He was attacked by this vicious, violent mob, and he used his rifle in self-defense. So they're coming after Tucker Carlson. But I want to talk about 2 of the people that he shot. There was one screenshot that was shared to me of his criminal record. One of these people, Joseph D. Rosenbaum, a member of the esteemed Jewish American community. And he was a registered sex offender. He had sexual conduct with a minor, very similar to what we saw with Jacob Blake. There was also another person, also a member of the esteemed Jewish American community, who is a violent criminal as well. He was also shot. So remember how I said that you wouldn't be far off by calling these people pedophiles, these people who call you loudly racist or neo-Nazi or white supremacist or white nationalist or whatever the labels are that they want to throw at you. Remember how I said that you wouldn't be far off calling these people pedophiles loudly back, which is probably the best and the most effective reaction to someone doing this to you? Well, it just time and time again, vindicated time and time again, it turns out almost every time we see the criminal records of these people, and they're pedophiles. They're actual pedophiles. So about 90% of the time, I would say, and I really don't have anything to substantiate my claim on this other than we constantly see this over and over again, 90% of the time, you'll probably be correct or very close in your assumption that they are in fact pedophiles. So take note of that, of course. But like I said, yeah, they're coming after Tucker Carlson, and they're looting and rioting in Minneapolis over someone who killed himself, and it's just only going to get worse from here before it gets better. But people are starting to notice, as we said. Racial consciousness is rising among the white population, and the media and the politicians and the rioters are not going to like what comes of this. The rural white population especially. From the rising of the sun to its setting, may the name of the Lord be praised. From the rising of the sun to its setting, may the name of the Lord be praised. His splendor reaches far beyond the heavens. May the name of the Lord be praised. Glory to the Father from the rising. My goal is to eventually become a powerhouse of truth. That is why it is imperative that you check the links in the description below and go to either Patreon and Subscribestar and support us for at least the cost of a cup of coffee a month. We already have writers writing for TheRedElephants.com, but we'd like to bring on more in the near future. By the way, at TheRedElephants.com, you can also find t-shirts, hats, and other products. Check the links in the description below. It helps us out tremendously.